Now, numeric up-down does not have a text property, but it does have some other interesting properties that we're going to need to change. So if we look, it has a minimum value, it has a maximum value, and these two specify how big or how small of a number you can enter in the control. So it will automatically limit it to values between 0 and 100. Now I think for our guess the number game, I think it's going to be good. But I'm going to change the minimum just for kicks. I'll change the minimum to be 1. Okay. Like that. Another interesting, another useful property is the increment property. And this is the amount by which the number in the control increases or decreases when you click on the up or down arrows. And just for kicks, usually 1 is a good value, but just for kicks we'll have it be 5, just so you can see. This doesn't mean that we can't enter numbers in between 1 and 5. You know, just because if you start out at 1 and then you increment by 5, which will get you to 6, doesn't mean you can't enter a 4 if you wanted to. Just when you hit the up or down arrows, it automatically increments the number by the increment value. Okay, push enter. And probably the most important property of all is the value property. This is at design time you can set what should be the initial value of that numeric up-down control. Let's have it be the maximum 100. Okay. Now also at runtime, so when your program is running, in your code you can actually read the value property in case the user changed it, which of course in our case we're going to, but we're going to get there. So for right now, we'll just make it be 100. As you can see, the control on the form also updated to be 100. Now we're going to add another numeric up-down control. Watch, I can resize it so that it's the same size as the one above it. Okay, like that. We're going to call this control nud guess, and we're going to set its like that, push enter, and we're going to set its minimum to this and maximum to the same as the secret number. So the maximum is already 100, and its minimum is 0. So I'm going to set that to 1. Push enter. That, and its value, I guess we can leave that at 1. Actually, I'm going to make it be 50. How about that? And I'm going to leave its increment to 1, just to be a little different. Okay? So that's all good. Let's run our program. Now usually when you run the program, it will also save everything. There it is. Guess the number. Okay. And watch. We can decrease the number by 5s. We can... now this other one, we can, when we increment it, it gets incremented by only 1, or decremented by 1. I can also type my own value in here, 7. That works. However, if I try to type a bigger value, and then I leave the control, it automatically adjusts, it limits me to either the upper or the lower limit. Okay, but again, this doesn't do anything yet. We gotta add some more controls and some more code. So now let's add another label for the result. Change its text to result. And I'm going to, oh, we're going to add a button. Forgot the button. Haha. Going to change its text value to guess. Maybe guess now. And I'm going to change its name to BTN guess. Okay? And now we're going to add a text box. Where are text boxes? Down here. Okay, text box. And I'm going to add it here by the result label. Like that. And I'm going to rename it txt result. Like that. And as you might guess, the text box has a text property, which by default is blank, but I can have it be whatever I want it to be. Like press the guess now button. Like that. And see, it shows up on the control as well. And what's interesting about the text property of this one is that, as it's true about most text properties of most controls, is that you can change it during runtime. And this is what we're going to use to tell the user whether or not their guess was too high or too low. I'm going to make this window a little bit smaller because we don't need it to be that big. Okay, like that. So now, do you notice up here on the tab that shows you the name of the file that you're currently editing, there's an asterisk? That means that the file has changed since the last time you saved. So if you were to kill Visual Studio right now and not save anything, you would lose the changes you made since your last save. So when you hit save, or when you build, or when you run the program, it'll actually save the file and you'll see the asterisk disappear, like this. See, now it's gone. Okay, just a little sidebar there. Alright, so let's run the program and see what the text box does and what the button does. Button doesn't do anything. Now the text box, I can actually click on it and I can start typing. But again, it doesn't do anything. Okay. But now let's think about this. The text box is just a result. We're not supposed to be able to change that result, correct? So, but there's something that we can do to make it read-only. So let's close this application and click on the text box and look at this. There's a read-only property and we're going to make that to be true. And you probably didn't notice, but the text box actually became a little bit grayed out. We could change that if we wanted to, but I'll leave it a little bit grayed out, as it is by default. So now when we run the program, I can click inside the text box, but if I try typing, nothing shows up. Okay? Which is what we want.